So, in continuation of the oogenesis, uh, at mid-cycle, that is on 13th day of the at 13th day of the menstrual cycle, 13th day, the influence of the FSH to rescue the oocytes is completed. That is, the oocyte is changed into secondary oocyte, in which the mitosis phenomena, meiosis phenomena, which is continued and arrested at the stage of metaphase, that is the meiosis 2. It is arrested over here in meiosis 2 metaphase in 13th day. It is arrested. And there is also the estrogen, which is responsible for stimulation of the LH surge from the pituitary. The LH, when is produced at mid-cycle, 13 days, the further cycle, which is the secretory phase, and the onward, that is ovulation, is under control of LH. How LH, which is the stimulated by estrogen on 13th day from the pituitary, what it do, it elevate the concentration of the maturating factor, causing oocyte to complete meiosis 1 and initiate meiosis 2 up to metaphase stage. So 14 days is the time of ovulation, when the egg or oocyte leave the ovary, come out from the ovary and taken up by the fallopian tube. At that, what is the stage of the oocyte? Oocyte has completed its meiosis 1 under the FSH, and the initiation of the meiosis 2, that is under LH, that start, but it is arrested up to metaphase stage. And so egg is ovulated in this stage, meiosis 2 up to the metaphase stage. It remain in it and enter in fallopian tube, and if it is fertilized, that is the sperm come in contact with the egg, with the oocyte, the oocyte completes its meiosis 2 and extrude the polar body. That is, the meiosis 2 is completed only if the sperm come in contact with the oocyte. If no sperm are that come in contact, then it is 3 to 4 days it approaches into the uterine cavity in this state, meiosis 2 metaphase, and wasted out in coming next menstrual cycle as such. So expulsion of the oocyte in menstruation is meiosis 2 metaphase stage, that is expelled out. Otherwise, if there is in contact with the sperm, then it completed meiosis 2 and then combine with the sperm and are fertilized. Second role of the, so this is complete, this is in this state, is meiosis 2 up to metaphase is under control of LH. Second is the LH stimulate production of progesterone by the follicular stroma cells. As I told you that there is a two layers around the oocyte. One is theca interna, other is the granulosa cells. Theca interna, which was previously producing the precursors of the estrogen under FSH, now it is start producing precursors of the progesterone, although the estrogen also precursor are there, but they are less amount as compared to the precursor of the progesterone, which are under production under the control of LH. Now, instead of the estrogen, now it produces the progesterone precursors, but small amount of the precursor of estrogen also. Progesterone is now this precursor shifted to the granulosa cells, that is stromal cells, and where it is converted into progesterone. So progesterone production start on 14 days uh, by the uh, by the LH, and this is responsible for the third phase of the menstrual cycle, which is the secretory phase. This progesterone act on the that is the endothelial lining of the uh, uterus, which is the stromal cells, or the endometrium, which is the receptors for progesterone, and that start its cycle of the secretory phase, which is continue 14 to 26 day of the menstrual cycle. And so it's spiralization of the glands and the spiralization of the uterine glands and the spiralization of the arteries to store more blood, more secretion, and prepare the bed for the coming that is the oocyte. So LH not only that responsible to complete the meiosis 2 up to metaphase stage before expulsion on 14 days, it also responsible for preparing the bed in the uterus, which is the to complete the follicular secretory phase from 9 to 26 day. Third is it causes follicular rupture and ovulation. LH is also responsible for the phenomena of the ovulation, that is the expulsion of the oocyte from the ovary. Ovulation. What is before proceeding ovulation? The vesicular follicle grows rapidly. Vesicular follicle term used when the follicular cells develop a cavity in it, and that is known name is previously I told you that is the antrum. This cavity enlarge in size, it is filled with fluid and pushes the oocyte towards one side, covered over by cumulus oophorus cells, and this produces the pressure in the inside the oocyte, that's fluid. In addition to that, so the vesicular follicle grows rapidly to a diameter of 25 millimeter. So if you have an ultrasound on 13th day of the menstrual cycle, the follicle is seen, which are vary from 22 to 25 millimeter, which mean that ultrasound indicate that mature follicle are present, which are capable to fertilize. If they are 8, 9 or 10 mm, then they are the immature follicle and does not undergo fertilization. So to become immature with the vesicular follicle, LH now causes primary oocyte to complete meiosis 1. Meiosis 2 is also initiated, but this oocyte is arrested in metaphase approximately 3 hours before the ovulation. Before that, it is expelled out. The oocyte in state of meiosis 2 metaphase. That is, in this state, it is achieved 3 hours before expulsion from the ovary or ovulation. The surface of the ovary began to bulge locally because it is passed on toward the one side of the ovary, oocyte, and it causes a bulge on the ovary. And at the apex, a avascular spot or stigma appear, which means when it is pushed toward the one side of ovary, it produces pressure on the outer covering of the ovary. Due to pressure, the blood vessels of that area, that is blood, that is the undergo constriction, and due to constriction, blood supply is gone on that area, which is the overlying the oocyte, in which the blood, due to pressure, the blood supply is stopped and area become avascular. So that might avascular spot, which is due to the pressure of the oocyte on the surface, name is given stigma. That is why a stigma appear as shown. Actually, their cells are well organized. These are well organized over here when they are present inside this antral follicle. But when they come out, many of these cells they shed off. They are shed off during expulsion, and by shedding, it gives the this radiation like appearance. This is the one radiation. Other so name is given the corona radiator, radiating uh, fire. So cumulus operus, there is no difference between the cumulus operus and corona radiator. The only difference is their arrangement. If when they are well organized arrangement around the oocyte, name is given cumulus operus. When they are present in spikes or irregular arrangement, then is the corona radiator. Corona radiator. Corpus luteum. Now the corpus luteum is what? I told you that it is the after ovulation remaining in the wall of the ruptured follicle together with cell from the theca interna are vascularized by surrounding vessels. The granulosa cells, this one, this is the this granulosa cells and theca cells, which are left, these peripheral cells, left in the ovary like this. They are in U-shaped manner. They are left over after the expulsion of the oocyte. That name is given corpus luteum. What does it composed of? Granulosa cell, its basement membrane, theca interna, theca externa. This is left inside the ovary. Name is given corpus, mean body, luteum mean yellow. It so blood vessel invade in it and make it a vascularize, and the yellow pigments they develop in it to give the yellow body corpus luteum, which is the yellow body due to luteal cells. So it becomes highly vascular after the expulsion of oocyte. Remaining, so after ovulation, remaining in the wall of the ruptured follicle together with cell from theca interna, they are vascularized by surrounding vessels. Here is the phases are shown, that is the primary follicle, follicular fluid which is formed, mature follicle, and the ruptured follicle which is expelled out from, at the point of stigma which is lost, and the pressure of the fluid pushes the oocyte, and surrounding this muscle also put pressure on the oocyte, and in turn pressure on the fluid and expulsion of the. Now these are the layer which is the granulosa cells, theca interna externa, which is left inside the ovary after expulsion. So the name is given corpus luteum. Corpus luteum now is a highly vascular at the moment, and start producing progesterone, which in turn act on the endometrium of the uterus and responsible for the production of progesterone for 9 days. Now, its life is 9 days. Now, if the oocyte is fertilized in the when it is expelled out after ovulation inside the fallopian tube, if it is fertilized in the ovary, it passes third to fourth day into the uterine cavity, then a bend in the endometrium and forming the its layer around it name is given syncytiotrophoblast. Syncytiotrophoblast HCG produced by oocyte if fertilized and before the ninth day it start producing HCG after ovulation and that act on the corpus luteum HCG and corpus luteum has special receptors for HCG and it go on producing progesterone and maintain the pregnancy or the endometrial bed which was secretory bed which was prepared, that is it's maintained by the progesterone production. If no fertilization, no syncytiotrophoblast form, no HCG production, then it is that is its vascularization is gone. It is become white in color. That is the it become white in color because the blood supply is gone. Blood supply is gone of this part and no more a yellow color. It become white color and pigment are not there, yellow. So name is given corpus albicans, which mean albican mean white, white body, and menstruation starts due to withdrawal of the progesterone by the corpus luteum because it is no more producing progesterone. If you withdraw the progesterone, then the menstruation starts. Under LH, these cells develop a yellow pigment, change into luteal cells, which form the corpus luteum and secrete the estrogen and progesterone. Small amount of estrogen and major is the progesterone. Progesterone causes the uterine mucosa to enter the progestational or secretory stage in preparation for the implantation of the embryo. So on two way it is working on. Corpus albicans, if fertilization does not occur, corpus luteum reaches maximum development approximately 9 days after the ovulation. This is also one of the MCQ. Subsequently, corpus luteum shrinks because of the degeneration of the luteal cells, that is the luteolysis. I told you that if it is fertilized, it produces HCG and act on the corpus luteum and maintain the life of corpus. If no fertilization, no production of HCG, the corpus luteum then shrink because of degeneration of the luteal cell luteolysis, form a mass of fibrotic scar. It is changed into just a scar tissue. Corpus albicans simultaneously says simultaneously progesterone production decreases. So when it is changed into corpus albicans, simultaneously progesterone production decreases, fall of progesterone, which lead to menstrual bleeding because the bed which was prepared endometrial bed during secretory phase, it start falling down. If oocyte is along with the oocyte expelled out from the uterus, if oocyte is fertilized, if oocyte is fertilized, it will release on seventh day after ovulation the HCG. uh, that produce the HCG by the fertilized oocyte, human chorionic gonadotrophin hormone, secreted by the sensitiotropoblast of the embryo. Now HCG act on the corpus luteum before it degenerate on ninth day and maintain the corpus luteum. Here is the step of the ovulation, that in one side this gate is open or site is open by the collagenase fiber which are digested by collagenase enzyme under LH and assists the evulsion of the secondary oocyte along with cumulus operas. Many of the cells shed off to lead to corona radiata. This is the corpus luteum stages. It is highly vascular functional corpus luteum. Its life is 9 days. If no HCG production from the oocyte, if it is not fertilized. If fertilized, sensitiotrophoblasts will act on that is produce HCG which act on the corpus luteum and maintain its life. Otherwise, it is undergo degeneration and change into corpus albicans. This is change into corpus albicans, which is the white scar tissue. If the HCG is produced by the fertilized ovum, the corpus luteum continue to grow and form the corpus luteum of pregnancy. Now, yellowish luteal cells continue to secrete progesterone until the end of the fourth month. Thereafter, it regresses slowly. It regresses slowly as secretion of the progesterone by trophoblast component of the placenta, that is the secretion of the progesterone. Thereafter, it regress slowly because the progesterone produced by corpus luteum is that is up to the 4 months, up to 4 months. After that, placenta take over the function and producing the progesterone. What is said that corpus luteum even persists up to end of pregnancy, go on producing small amount of progesterone, but the major is produced by the placenta as secretion of the progesterone by the trophoblastic component of placenta become adequate after 4 months. At the 4 month, the secretion of the progesterone component of placenta become adequate to maintain pregnancy. Removal of corpus luteum of the pregnancy before 4 months lead to abortion. After ovulation, the fimbria of the uterine tube, which I told you, fimbriated part, it has one ovarian fimbria, which receive the this oocyte. Others they sweep over the surface of the ovary and tube itself. So it enter into tube. Now further onward movement is dependent on inside the tube of oocyte. That is oocyte further movement inside the tube is dependent on the contraction of the smooth muscle of the fallopian tube. They undergo contraction and expel the oocyte onward. The tube itself began to contract rhythmically. Oocyte surrounded by granulosa cell is carried into tube by sweeping movement of fimbria. First the fimbria take into tube and by the motion of the cilia, if the epithelium is ciliated, it beat toward the uterine cavity, direction of the beating, and responsible for the movement of the oocyte. Also, the rhythmic contraction of the wall of the uterine tube is the factor for further movement of the inside the tube. So oocyte movement inside the once it enter in tube, its further movement is dependent on two factors. Number one is the contraction of the muscle around the smooth muscle around the fallopian tube, its contraction. Second is the beating of cilia, because ciliated epithelium by motion of cilia, the epithelial lining inside tube, cumulus cell lose contact with the oocyte. They are gone shedding. Cumulus oophorus cells, they are shedding, and oocyte is propelled by the periodic muscular contraction of the tube and by cilia in the tubal mucosa. So two factors. Fertilized ovum stay in the uterine tube 3 to 4 days.